Earl Billings just shattered the silence, and what he spilled about Danielle Spencer's tragic death has fans gasping. Behind her sudden passing lurks a storm of emotions, unanswered mysteries, and raw reflections from those who truly knew her. But here's the jaw-dropper. Earl's confession cuts way deeper than the lazy headlines, pulling us straight into the heartbreak that rattled her inner circle. Today we dig into the truths, the reactions, and the shocking moments nobody expected. Danielle. Spencer's sudden death blindsided fans, friends, and co-stars alike. Famous for her unforgettable role on What's Happening, she was adored by millions, and her loss has sparked an avalanche of grief and endless questions. Yet, in all this sorrow, one voice rises above the rest. Earl Billings, her longtime friend and colleague, has finally broken his silence. In this video, we'll dive into Earl Billings' emotional revelations. Get ready, because Earl Billings didn't just drop a tribute. He unleashed reflections, behind-the-scenes confessions, and deeply personal stories that peel back the layers of Danielle Spencer's life and career. This isn't just a rundown of the events surrounding her passing. It's a rare glimpse into the massive impact she had on her castmates, her friends, and her family. From private memories to public outpourings, Earl's words deliver a raw, emotional perspective on a tragedy that stamped itself permanently on fans and the industry. Now here's where things heat up. What he revealed will catch you off guard, and trust me, some of these details have never been made public. Stick with us as we break down the full story, the timeline, the heartfelt tributes, and the moments that shaped Danielle Spencer's legacy both on and off camera. By the end, you'll see exactly why her passing cuts so deep, and why Earl's revelations are igniting conversations the world won't be letting go of anytime soon. Before we dive into the heartbreak of Danielle Spencer's untimely passing, let's rewind to the remarkable life and powerful legacy she left behind. Danielle was never just a TV star. She was a magnetic, talented force who touched fans across generations. Born in the early 1960s, she shot to fame as a child actress in the iconic sitcom What's Happening. It instantly winning hearts with her charm, razor-sharp comedic timing, and the undeniable authenticity she poured into every scene. But Danielle's story wasn't limited to the screen. She was a trailblazer, breaking barriers for young Black actresses in Hollywood and carving paths in an industry that rarely made space for people of color. Her years on What's Happening built bonds that lasted well beyond the show's final episode. Deep friendships, professional respect, and lifelong admiration. Castmates, crew, and fans all cherished her warmth, her dedication, and her rare ability to connect both on and off camera. It was never just about her performances. That left a lasting impression. It was how Danielle Spencer carried herself off-screen, genuine, grounded, and unfailingly kind. Beyond acting, Danielle threw herself into creative passions and charitable causes with the same energy she brought to her roles. Friends and colleagues remember her deep love for mentoring young talent, fighting for underrepresented voices, and using her spotlight to push conversations on issues that truly mattered. Her career stretched far past her sitcom fame, branching into theater, guest appearances, and involvement in projects that proved her versatility as a performer. Earl Billings especially painted Danielle Spencer as far more than a sitcom face. He called her thoughtful, caring, and unforgettable to everyone lucky enough to cross her path. For fans, her performances were the spotlight, but for those who truly knew her, Danielle's legacy was wrapped in compassion, mentorship, and a fierce sense of integrity. To grasp the weight of her untimely death, you have to understand both her life and career. Her achievements, relationships, and influence explain why her passing struck so deeply. And while her professional milestones are easy to find, the personal stories from Earl Billings and others peel back a hidden side, one brimming with humor, humanity, and heart. That's where the story starts to get compelling. Earl's reflections don't just celebrate her wins, they hint at the battles, the private moments, and the realities behind the curtain that make her journey even more heartbreaking. These are details fans never heard, and they help explain the tidal wave of grief surrounding her loss. Danielle Spencer's sudden passing didn't just shock Hollywood, it left a hole in the lives of countless people she touched. while the headlines screamed. The basic headlines, the truth around Danielle Spencer's untimely death paints a deeper, more emotional picture. Sources close to her say her final months were a mix of personal challenges and relentless dedication to her craft. Outwardly, she kept up with her professional commitments, but friends noticed the shifts, a quieter energy, spells of fatigue, and a reflective mood hinting at life-altering weight. While the public missed it, her closest circle, including Earl Billings, saw it clearly. Earl's reflections shine a light on Danielle's humanity in that fragile period. He described her as resilient yet selfless, always putting others before herself. Friends remembered her steady guidance, support, and encouragement, even while quietly battling her own struggles. Danielle embodied pure generosity, which made her loss cut even deeper. The exact details of her passing remain undisclosed, but Earl drove home one brutal fact. It was sudden. No warnings, no lingering illness, no preparation for the devastating blow. For family, colleagues, and fans, that shock piled onto the grief. A vibrant, promising life, snatched away in an instant. Alongside the grief, Danielle Spencer's death reignited tough questions about the pressures child stars face once the cameras stop rolling. Industry voices were quick to remind us that moving from childhood fame into adulthood often comes with battles the public never sees. The demand to balance image, personal health, and career expectations is brutal, and Danielle's life reflected both the dazzling highs and the crushing, for everyone blessed to know her. And here's where the story shifts into something even more gripping. While fans wept for Danielle's passing, from a distance, Earl's revelations cracked open private details never before shared. The laughter, the hidden struggles, the tight bonds with her co-stars. These behind-the-scenes moments sketch a richer portrait of the woman beyond the icon and explain why her loss hit so many so hard. And here's the part that lingers. Danielle Spencer's untimely death is a brutal reminder of how fragile life really is, even for those who seem unstoppable, successful, and untouchable on the surface. It also throws a spotlight on the power of support systems, friendships, and raw conversations about mental and emotional well-being, points Earl Billings drives home in his reflections. Up next, we step directly into Earl's personal memories and heartfelt tributes, where he opens up about the woman she truly was, the impact her death left on him, and what he desperately wants fans to understand. After Danielle Spencer's sudden passing, fans and colleagues alike struggled to process the blow. But among the voices, Earl Billings, longtime friend and co-star, delivered some of the most raw, heartfelt reflections, painting Danielle not just as a gifted actress, but as a kind, empathetic, and deeply authentic soul. He recalled her warmth, her wit, and the undeniable authenticity she carried into every interaction. Danielle Spencer had this rare ability to light up a room, Earl recalled. She wasn't just acting for the cameras, she built real connections that stuck with people long after. What made Earl's reflections so gripping were the off-camera stories. Their time working side by side, the quiet acts of generosity, the way she mentored others without seeking praise. She constantly guided younger actors, lifted colleagues during tough times, and somehow always carved out space for friends, no matter how hectic her schedule became. Earl's anecdotes sketched a woman whose legacy stretched way beyond credits and accolades, a legacy rooted as much in compassion as in talent. He also faced the brutal suddenness of her death, describing the disbelief and grief of losing a close friend without warning. For Earl, her passing wasn't just professional. It tore a personal hole that nothing could replace. His honesty about that pain struck a chord with fans who felt the same gut punch of shock and sorrow. Perhaps most powerful of all was Earl's focus on Danielle's humanity. He shared her struggles, her vulnerable moments, and the resilience that defined her entire life. Danielle faced hardships like anyone else, Earl admitted, but she carried them with grace, dignity, and a heart overflowing with love. These insights pulled fans closer to the woman behind the fame, revealing the layers of strength, kindness, and complexity that truly defined Danielle Spencer's life. Earl even shared memories filled with her laughter, her playful energy, and the way she could instantly lift the mood of everyone in the room. Those personal touches made his tribute so much more than a polished public statement. It became a raw, emotional narrative that let fans connect with Danielle on a profoundly human level. And Earl didn't stop there. He turned his reflections into a call for remembrance, urging fans to celebrate Danielle's life, recognize her impact on the entertainment world, and honor her memory by living out the values she embodied: kindness, authenticity, and empathy. In doing this, he gave more than a tribute. He carved a legacy. Danielle, but also offered comfort to those grieving, pointing them toward remembrance instead of despair. The ripple effect was instant. Fans stormed social media, posting favorite memories, thanking her for her work, and reacting to the raw weight of Earl's reflections. The mix of public grief and private truths painted a richer portrait of Danielle's legacy, reminding the world her impact stretched far beyond the screen. And here's the part that hit hardest. Earl stressed that Danielle Spencer's life, though heartbreakingly short, overflowed with meaning, connection, and love. He reminded everyone that while her death is an immeasurable loss, her influence will keep inspiring for generations. Up next, we dive into the voices of her castmates, her fans, and the public, revealing how the tidal wave of grief and tributes proves the lasting power of Danielle Spencer's mark on entertainment and beyond. The news of her sudden passing tore through Hollywood, social feeds, and the hearts of fans worldwide. Her death triggered an immediate flood of grief, love, and remembrance, proof of the profound reach she had in the industry and in personal lives. Castmates from What's Happening were among the first to speak out, dropping heartfelt tributes online, sharing cherished memories, inside jokes, and moments that showcased Danielle Spencer's generosity and warmth. These tributes gave fans a rare window into the personal bonds built on set, friendships that lasted long after the cameras stopped rolling. Many co-stars stressed her steady support and mentorship, sketching a portrait of a woman who lifted spirits, nurtured talent, and radiated positivity everywhere she went. Fans, meanwhile, flooded Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok with their grief and gratitude. Posts ranged from touching video montages of her most iconic scenes to heartfelt stories of how her performances inspired or comforted them over the years. Hashtags in her name trended fast, proving just how wide her influence stretched. For countless fans, sharing these memories became a way to mourn together, a digital memorial honoring a life that touched so many. Beyond the screen, in person, gatherings and fan-driven memorials sprang up. Communities even built virtual pages for messages, photos, and stories to keep her legacy alive for future generations. Entertainment outlets echoed the wave of remembrance, spotlighting not only her career milestones but also the personal qualities that made her beloved by colleagues and audiences alike. And the theme that stood out across every tribute? Danielle wasn't remembered solely for her talent. She was remembered for her character. Words like kind, authentic, inspiring, and mentoring echoed nonstop in tributes. Fans and co-stars insisted Danielle Spencer's legacy wasn't just about what she did on screen. It was about the lives she touched, the creativity she nurtured, and the spirits she lifted along the way. Earl Billings' reflections only magnified that chorus, dropping personal stories that matched the public's grief. His accounts of Danielle's humor, compassion, and resilience hit hard, reminding everyone her loss wasn't just Hollywood's loss. It was personal to anyone who knew her. Earl's words also tore down the curtain, reminding fans that behind the fame was a real woman, layered, warm, complex, and alive with spirit. And the sheer tidal wave of responses revealed a bigger truth. Danielle Spencer's life, though heartbreakingly short, left ripples still moving today. From hashtags and fan art to interviews, memorials, and nonstop tributes, the reaction proved the unbreakable bond between performer and audience. A bond built on talent, authenticity, and her uncanny ability to make people feel seen. And here's the part that gets even more emotional. Tributes unearthed stories the world had never heard, quiet acts of kindness, moments of mentorship, private laughter with friends and co-stars, all painting a richer, more intimate portrait of the remarkable woman behind the beloved actress. These revelations not only deepened the grief, but also amplified the admiration and love forever tied to her memory. Though Danielle Spencer's life ended far too soon, her influence and legacy continue to echo through Hollywood and among fans. Worldwide, her body of work, Her character and the connections she built remind us that a life lived with purpose leaves marks long after the person is gone. Professionally, Danielle's contributions to television, especially her legendary role on What's Happening, set the bar for authenticity, relatability, and comedic brilliance. Generations of young actors still look to her performances for inspiration, pointing to the warmth, nuance, and humor she poured into every scene. Her career remains a roadmap for balancing early fame with growth and meaningful artistry. Retrospectives and interviews make it clear. Danielle's work will stay influential for decades, not just for performance quality, but for the way she approached her craft with integrity and heart. And beyond her resume, Danielle's life delivers timeless lessons about resilience, kindness, and human connection. Earl Billings' reflections show how she constantly prioritized people, relationships, mentorship, and support. She poured into others, nurtured talent, and offered guidance freely. That kind of legacy can't be captured in awards or headlines. It's felt in lives forever changed. The lives she directly touched, the communities she inspired, and the countless fans who adored her work. Danielle Spencer's untimely passing is also a sobering reminder of how fragile life truly is. Even for those who seem strong, vibrant, and untouchable. It underscores the importance of emotional well-being, the value of authentic bonds, and cherishing loved ones while there's still time. Her life, career, and relationships prove that true legacy is built not on fame, but on character, generosity, and the impact we leave on others, a truth Earl Billings made sure to hammer home. Fans and fellow actors continue to celebrate Danielle through tributes, social campaigns, and creative projects inspired by her work. Every post, every memory, every shared scene proves that while her presence is gone, her spirit remains etched into the collective memory. From acting workshops citing her techniques to fan recreations of her iconic moments, her influence lives on in both visible and unseen ways. Earl's reflections also highlight the power of storytelling and remembrance. By opening up about Danielle's humor, struggles, and humanity, he ensured her life isn't reduced to a tragic headline, but preserved as a layered narrative of lessons and inspiration. His words push us to look past the glossy image and recognize the private qualities that make someone unforgettable. And in the end, Danielle Spencer's life and sudden passing leave an imprint no one can erase. From the laughter she sparked on screen, to the mentorship she gave off camera, to the warmth she poured into her friends, Danielle's legacy is rich, enduring, and profoundly human. Her story proves that even a brief life, when lived with compassion and purpose, lasts forever.